Now at 7, it could take your child even longer to complete driver's ed. How a law change could make the backlogs worse. Then,
just because something is colorful and looks like candy doesn't mean it's candy.
we'll show you the new efforts to stop vaping in local schools.
Cool and dry, how long the streak continues, and just how low we could see the humidity fall.
Thousands of students in our area go back to the classroom next week, and tonight we are covering some back-to-school subjects: school buses, vaping on campus, and student health care. But first, we're getting into driver's ed. Thanks for joining us at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. Our state's huge backlog on driver's ed could soon get even bigger. Students typically go through their high school to take the courses, but that may be about to change, and it's all because of state budget cuts. Here's WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie.
If you're under 18 in North Carolina, you can't get a driver's license unless you go through driver's education. Most students do that at their public high school, but that could become more difficult. That's because state lawmakers cut the funding for the program here at DPI that used to train those teachers. Jamison Cheek says it's already hard enough to get your license. The Millbrook High School student had 68 people in line ahead of him when he got to the DMV this morning.
He had told us that people had been here since 6 o'clock, and the line was already long. It was already halfway across the building.
Soon it'll be even harder thanks to state lawmakers. The State Department of Public Instruction is in charge of the driver's education program. DPI had a training program, STEP, that used to qualify 150 new teachers a year. Lawmakers cut that funding last year, so the training program ended in January. At a DPI meeting today, driver's ed director Carl Logan said that leaves the state with no way to certify driver's ed teachers. He said he's had more than 50 calls this year from teachers who wanted to get certified but now can't.
We could end up in a position where that the program can't provide services to different areas of the state, mostly the rural areas.
The only other option for driver's ed instruction is the State Department of Motor Vehicles, which is already understaffed. Legislators who cut DPI's funding said DMV could take over the training. But the DMV program serves commercial driving instructors, not public school teachers. Longtime driver's ed teacher Eddie Jordan says the DMV will not be able to meet the need.
There is not the ability to train instructors, and this is going to be a big problem, I say, within the next 2 to 3 years if something does not change.
Now, if students can't get into driver's ed at their high school, they could always go to a private driving school, but that can cost hundreds of dollars more. And in 56 out of 100 counties in North Carolina, there is no commercial driving school to go to. Leaders here at DPI say they plan to ask state lawmakers to fix this problem next year. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, Raleigh.
This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. All new at 7, we have learned that Fayetteville police are investigating a deadly shooting. Show you where this happened. Around 3 o'clock this afternoon, they got a report of a shooting on Early Street on the north side of Fayetteville, not too far from 401 and Country Club Drive. Fayetteville police say they got to the scene. They found a male victim suffering from a gunshot wound. That person later died. They have not released the victim's name at this point. They say this is still an active investigation.
Brian, thank you. Development in downtown Raleigh and a recall affecting thousands of cars. Let's get you caught up on today's big headlines.
Here are 5 things you should know right now. A truck ended up stuck under a bridge in Durham. This happened near the intersection of Pettigrew Street and South Roxborough Street. Traffic slowed down as crews took the bus out. The road has since reopened. No one was hurt when this happened.
Raleigh is ready to move forward with plans at Red Hat Amphitheater. The city council approved those plans to start the process of closing down part of South Street so that venue can expand. As of today, the city can take some steps toward buying the land across from the venue. The next steps will come next month with a public hearing. That date is set for September 17th.
It is day 2 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Here's a live look inside the United Center. Former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama will be the keynote speakers. Meantime, former President Trump was in Michigan for a crime and safety event. He and J.D. Vance will be in North Carolina tomorrow. He's going to be at a rally in Asheboro. WRAL will be there with live reports throughout the day.
BMW is recalling nearly 721,000 vehicles because of a possible short circuit in the water pump. The recall includes some crossovers, including the X1 and X5, along with some 5 Series sedans. Dealers will inspect and replace everything for free. BMW received 18 customer complaints, and so far there haven't been any reports of accidents or injuries. And drivers will notice some changes on the Raleigh Beltline tomorrow. Crews are shifting the eastbound lanes from Western Boulevard to Wade Avenue and Hillsborough Street. They will close the lanes here and there so that they can restripe the pavement. They should be back open by Thursday morning.
Be prepared for buses filled with children headed for school early next week. The big challenge, isn't it, is always getting enough trained drivers to get students back to school and back. Now, a grant for a new school bus program may help. Even a brand new school bus requires a daily safety inspection, even down to the wiper blades.
They're not cracked, broken, or missing, and nothing's blocking my vision.
This demonstration at the North Carolina Division of Motor Vehicles in Rocky Mount features 3 new buses that will be used for training. They are owned by the DMV.
What I really want you to understand that this is the first time that DMV has ever had our own buses.
DMV Commissioner Wayne Godwin says the new buses will be used for training in school systems across the state through a grant by Governor Roy Cooper.
That same grant also allows us to pay for the extensive training of school bus drivers.
Godwin says last school year, specialists trained and certified 3,754 school bus drivers and recertified another 6,600 to drive more than 12,000 school buses. The next challenge is getting potential drivers fully trained and certified, ready for the road this school year.
It is a lot of information to soak in 3 days. It's a couple hundred questions. You have to receive it 80% in order to pass.
And they're hoping these new buses will help them get the job done. And the same DMV training program will be available in a virtual classroom training environment with training for about 250 people.
Let's talk about some other technology in our schools. There's the kind that some students carry around in their backpacks and pockets, of course, but we're not talking about phones or laptops. We're talking about vapes. The CDC reports that 10% of high school students use e-cigarettes. That's actually down from 14% in 2022, and educators want that trend to continue. So schools are fighting back with their own kind of technology, these vape detectors. They look a lot like smoke alarms. They go up in bathrooms or even in classrooms, and if they detect the vapor from an e-cig, the device sends out an alert to the administrators. Warren and Chatham County schools have investments on the books right now to install these detectors. Over in the Piedmont Triad, Guilford and Rockingham counties have installed them as well. But do they work? The detectors are popping up from everywhere from Spokane to Orlando, but for the most part, these programs started within just the last 4 years. They're pretty new. Many used their leftover COVID relief money to pay for them, or settlement money from those Juul lawsuits. For those that were among the first to install the detectors, they have found some problems. A school district in Ohio told Wired, responding to a detector was like chasing a ghost. Administrators rarely made it to the bathroom in time to catch the students in the act. Others reported students finding pretty ingenious ways to outsmart these detectors using essentially what they learn in science class. They would blow the vapor into a flushing toilet, and the vacuum sucks the aerosol down into the pipes. The CEO of the company that makes vape detectors responded saying, "There's no sensing that could ever change the laws of physics." I guess at least the kids are listening in class. Districts could also try what Nash County is doing. There's a new grant there that's helping them to implement educational programs to increase awareness about the dangers of vaping. At least 5 other school districts in our area, including Wake County, have similar campaigns. So, will these work? We don't know. Those programs are pretty new as well. This is the kind of topic, though, we love to discuss in depth. So please send me your thoughts to dan@WRAL.com. Maybe you have some questions about this, about putting vape detectors in schools. We've really only just scratched the surface. So what else would you like to see us focus on? Send me an email and we will go in depth. Young people, though, using vape products is also the topic of our newest WRAL documentary. Investigative reporter and producer Kristen Severin spoke with dozens of students who say kids are vaping in schools every single day. She explains what parents need to know about these products and finds out how the state is spending millions of dollars to try and stop the problem. You can watch Gen V, Teen Vaping in North Carolina. It airs September 26th at 7:30.
Now, a correction to report. Yesterday, we reported on the arrest of Colton Redmond. He is accused of secretly recording a woman in the restroom at his workplace, which is a felony. Because Wake County CCBI published the wrong address for the crime, we misidentified the business in our initial reporting. Redmond was arrested at RDU Paving on Fayetteville Road in Raleigh. We reached out. The company had no comment. Maybe you've seen the headline about Tim Walz putting tampons in public schools. We iron out a few misconceptions in that story and zoom out to identify what the story should really be about: healthcare.
Then parts of our area can't seem to shake the flooding from Tropical Storm Debbie, while the flood waters still have not receded now, weeks after the storm has passed. Kat?
And we need a lot more sunshine to help with that. We're getting some more this week. 76 degrees outside. Temperatures are going to be dipping from the 50s back to the mid-90s. I'll have the timing for our temperature roller coaster coming up.
Welcome back to the WRAL Live Center. We had some breaking news from the Wake County School Board meeting. The board has voted to reduce the amount of credits you need to graduate high school in Wake County. It was 26 credits, but tonight they voted to reduce that to 22 credits. Now, this matches up with a state law that requires school boards to reduce the number of credits needed to graduate, and it matches with what the North Carolina Association of School Boards has recommended school boards do all across the state. The Wake County School Board is dropping the foreign language requirements for graduating school in Wake County. This affects current juniors, and you can read much more about what it all means in the education section at WRAL.com.
Okay, Brian, thank you. Conservative pundits and politicians are criticizing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for signing a law that puts tampons in grade school bathrooms. Paul Spade checks the details for PolitiFact.
Is Minnesota putting tampons in boys' bathrooms? That's what Fox News host Jesse Waters said the other day, and he said it was directed by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the Democratic vice presidential candidate. Take a look.
He's sick. Walz forced schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms. Tampons in fourth grade boys' bathrooms.
Is that right? Not exactly. Minnesota did pass a law that says menstrual products should be accessible to students in grades 4 through 12, but it doesn't single out boys' bathrooms. It just says the product should be available to all who need them. Some have pointed out, hey, that could include transgender students, and sure. But this advocate told us local school districts are allowed to come up with their own plans for complying with the law. So they could just decide to stock girls' bathrooms or bathrooms for all genders. Ultimately, the law as written does not specifically tell schools to put tampons in boys' bathrooms. And that's why the Truth-O-Meter rates this claim mostly false. To read more about this law, check out our story on WRAL.com.
So, yes, Minnesota supports putting tampons in schools. So does North Carolina. Our lawmakers started the Feminine Hygiene Products Grant Program in 2021. It created a pool of $250,000 and gave out grants to schools so that they could buy the products. School districts jumped at the opportunity. A report showed 66 of North Carolina's 115 public school districts applied for and received a grant. The report also found there is a direct link between student academic success and the provision of hygiene products in school because it removes financial barriers and stress. Last year, the Republican-led General Assembly expanded the program, increasing the pot of money to $500,000. This is great for students. A 2023 study found 1 in 4 teens and 1 in 3 adults struggle to afford period products. There are a few reasons why. For one, tampons are not tax exempt in North Carolina. We're one of 21 states, shaded in yellow on this map, taxing period products at the standard rate. So in North Carolina, that tax is 4.75%. But there are a lot of other products that are exempt from that tax. Cotton, tobacco, peanuts, and other farm products. No sales tax when sold to manufacturers. Wood chippers, certain public school books, food sold in school buildings. So if that's all tax exempt, why not period products? Some North Carolina lawmakers introduced a bill last year to make it happen, but it's stuck in committee. But let's be real, that 4% tax is not breaking the bank. I'd say the sticker price might be. The Alliance for Period Supplies found period products cost just over $13 a month over 40 years of menstruation. So you add that all up, that's $6,300 total. And that price is rising. A research firm in Chicago found the average price of a pack of pads has gone up 41% since 2019. Tampons have gone up 36%. Meantime, Procter & Gamble, the biggest maker of feminine hygiene products, has made $43 billion in profit so far this year, a 10% increase from last year. So maybe the issue isn't where we put the products, but whether or not they're affordable. Giving grants to schools and eliminating taxes can help, but for something as essential as period products, perhaps we need to think bigger.
What an important topic. So, a Cumberland County neighborhood, take a look at this, still experiencing flooding right now. This is the lakeside at Snow Hill neighborhood. This is after Tropical Storm Debbie passed through. They're still dealing with this. Neighbors say it's due to some blocked drainage systems there. Dwayne Pinkett says that this happens pretty much all year round after storms.
Got flood insurance, but we moved over here and they said it wasn't we're in an area that's not supposed to flood. But now we're having these issues. It's just crazy.
Pinkett has an HOA, says they're supposed to take care of the drainage system there, but nothing has been done this time. A lot of communities still dealing with this sort of problem. Of course, the drainage system is an issue there, but still a lot of folks who are still seeing signs of Debbie stick around. Why is that, you think?
Well, I mean, Fayetteville, Cumberland County has doubled their amount of rainfall. And you think about the river there, the Cape Fear River, and this is the issue. We've had over 9 months of rain in July, over 9.5 inches in August. We're not even done with the month of August yet. And then look at the statewide map, all the areas in green and blue above normal rainfall. So there's really nowhere for this rain to go. The soil is saturated everywhere. It's not like it can go down the river or anywhere else into some of the streams because it's just everywhere that's waterlogged right now.
Fortunately, the forecast is giving us a little break over the next few days.
We have a completely dry 7-day forecast, so I'm sure the folks there are excited to hear it in that neighborhood as they wait for the water to recede. It looks great here this week, though. 80 degrees in Fayetteville right now, 76 in Raleigh, 75 in Greensboro, 64 in Boone right now, 73 in Asheville. Meteorologist Mike Mays and myself have been sitting back in the weather center today and just looking at the mountain temperatures and stats all day long. Pretty remarkable, this air mass for the month of August in North Carolina. 60 degrees, the dew point in Greensboro, 49 in Boone. The lower this number is, the more comfortable it feels. We don't always show this map to you, but this is the weather story this week, and that's why we're talking about it. So we've got this dry air pushing in from the northwest all the way from Canada, and that's what's going to give it that crisp feel. That's the difference that you're really going to notice outside this evening. If you're headed out to get some exercise, it is beautiful out there. By 9 o'clock, we'll be in the upper 60s. By 11 o'clock tonight, 67 degrees. And by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, we're forecasting 60 for the low, upper 60s by 10 a.m. So we will warm up. It's not going to be sweater weather just yet or anything like that, but very comfortable for your morning coffee tomorrow. And as you head out to get some fresh air, temperatures keep warming up. If you want to do lunch outside, 75 degrees. You just can't beat that in August. Low humidity, 75 at noon, and highs tomorrow may be limited to the upper 70s due to some cloud cover. Similar to what we saw today, we do think will cloud up for a period of time. So what we've got going on, we've got this upper level blocking pattern. So high pressure and all the heat is stuck in the plains right now, and Texas is really feeling the brunt of that heat. We have a nice dip in the jet stream, delivering that cooler air, pushing it in from Canada. As we get to the end of the week, we start to see the ridge of high pressure shifting east, and that means the 90s are coming back Don't get used to this weather. It is not fall just yet. The end of the month into early September, above normal temperatures are expected. Our average last 90-degree day is September 12th. Check out our WRAL Weather Watcher photo today of the supermoon last night in Pinehurst. Angie sent that to us. Absolutely beautiful shot. If you have one you'd like to share, go to WRAL.com/weatherwatchers. Here's your dry 7-day forecast. Nothing showing up for the rainfall at the bottom of the map here. And then looking ahead, we're going to keep warming up each day by next week, 94 a week from today. Dan and Ashley?
Back to the 90s. Thanks, Kat. One last thing we want to tell you about tonight before we wrap up the show. There's a group of people in Raleigh. They play beach volleyball and shave their heads. It's for a good cause. We'll tell you about it next.
We have talked a lot about schools during tonight's newscast. You know, driver's ed programs, school buses, vape detectors, feminine products. Maybe those issues are important to you, and maybe you want us to focus on something else. That's okay. We are months away from new leadership overseeing your child's public education. We want to hear your thoughts. What should the next state superintendent focus on? And which qualifications are most important? Scan the QR code on the bottom right of your screen here to get a link to a new WRAL survey. You can also find it by searching Back to School on WRAL.com.
Let's flesh out some of these topics people are going to be using to cast their votes, certainly.
Yeah.
So here's something I think we can all just kind of agree on. This is the last thing for you here at 7 o'clock tonight. There is a beach volleyball tournament underway right now in Raleigh to support pediatric cancer research. The Growler Beach Volleyball Tournament is at the Springdale Area Rec Club. Tonight is the championship, and it's also the night players will shave their heads to raise money for children's cancer research. This year, the tournament is honoring 4-year-old Zeke, who was diagnosed with cancer at just 6 weeks old. All the proceeds benefit St. Baldrick's Foundation and kids like Zeke. Last year, they raised over $210,000.
Oh, wow.
What
amazing.
Some great people in the community. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, making WRAL your choice for local news.
Our next newscast is at 10 on Fox 50 and after the DNC on WRAL. Have a great night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.